Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about the training for 5k to the marathon. I thought about putting a video on just for people to understand and learn, to see if they can take any little tips away and to analyse their own training, to see whether anything that maybe I suggest might be of value to you. So first of all, I'd start by talking about that I've had quite a lot of coaches over the years, from the likes of Eamon Martin to Alan Story. Eamon Martin was coached by Mel Batty and he won London Marathon. I think it was 1993, was it, Dad?
Yeah, something like that, yeah, 3, 4, yeah.
And Alan Story, he's coached Chris Thompson and Scott Overall.
And Mo Farah for a little while.
And Mo Farah as well. Alan Story coached Mo Farah for a few years before Mo Farah went to America. So I just want to talk about different training methods that I've used and what I've found after experimenting really for about 10 years now on different ways of training, different type of base training, interval training, and what I find that works for me, which I think will apply for quite a lot of runners out there that have a reasonable amount of talent. I wouldn't say I've got a lot of talent or anything like that. It's just hard work really. I think that's what it comes down to in the end. So a lot of people probably watching this video would run possibly 3 to 4 times a week. You'd be going down your local track or your running club for road sessions, interval sessions, long runs and things like that. Now, we get a lot of customers that come in our shop and I always ask people about their training. I'm always interested. It's something really that I've been studying for the last 10 years of running, and I always find that you can never really stop learning about running really and training. So the majority of people that we spoke to run 3 times a week. It's a standard thing, and they'll go down their running club and they'll do, for example, a hard interval session on a Tuesday, maybe track reps or hill reps. They might do a tempo run or a time trial or later in the week, maybe a park run and maybe a long run on a Sunday. So out of their 3 to 4 runs a week, I'd say probably 3 of them are hard anaerobic type training, which means anaerobic means they call it without oxygen, but what it means is you're running hard, you're breathing heavy, you're running hard, you need to recover the next day, and you're running maybe 5k paces, maybe 3k paces in training. Now, what I found, that sort of training I found is always good. There's a time and a place to do that type of training. What I've found is I've gone through periods throughout the year where I've done a whole year's worth of training where I would do 3 hard sessions a week. A lot of easy running on the back of that as well, for 3 hard interval sessions a week. Now, I find that by doing that, and which a lot of people will be doing, you limit your fitness to where it's going to get to because you haven't got a real base of fitness to start with. Now, what I've noticed and what I've learned is that interval sessions or hard repetition type training where you're really breathing heavily is a time and place for it, and all it really does is tops off the fitness that you already have. So for example, since Christmas I've been doing a base period of training, so now it's April, so the last 4 months I've really done base training only. I've just started this week, funny enough, on some intervals, but for 4 months I've done no interval, hard repetition type running. So all I've been doing is easy and moderate pace runs. So in terms of what pace that is, that's 1 minute per mile, 45 seconds to 1 minute per mile slower than what I'd run for a half marathon or a marathon. So it's around about a minute a mile slower. That's what I've been doing. I haven't really been doing anything quicker than that. Don't get me wrong, I've been doing a lot of mileage, but nothing that hard. Now, I did a half marathon the weekend and ran 1:06:53, which is only 50 seconds off my PB, which I'm hoping might be down to the weather or the course, something like that, but very, very close to my PB. So what I've noticed is that you don't have to do that type of hard interval training to really run your best or very close to your best. If you look at any scientific book on running, or if you look online even, to have a look at what type of percentages in terms of race distances are aerobic and anaerobic. So if you look at a marathon, they say a marathon is 99, I think, % aerobic running. The 1% is anaerobic, but because you're using oxygen, you've got to run for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours.
Aerobic means
aerobic means using oxygen, and it's a comfortable pace you can keep going. Anaerobic's like the hard, you're really running eyeballs out type sessions. So aerobic is comfortably hard running. Also, it's classed as recovery running as well, but it's all the way up to comfortably hard running, marathon and half marathon pace. So, as I say, marathon pace, marathon as a whole, as an event, is 99%, I think, aerobic. As you go down through the events, the half marathon, it's a little bit more anaerobic and a little bit less aerobic. So, I think half marathon might be 95% or 90%. You go down to 10k, which is about 80 to 85. A 5k, I'm pretty sure, is 70% aerobic, 30% anaerobic. All the way down to 800 metres, which they say, which is 2 laps per track, which they say is 50% aerobic and 50% anaerobic. So if you look at that, there's a lot of scientific background evidence that proves that these percentages are correct. So if you look at a marathon, for example, and which is 99% aerobic, really, why would you want to be doing your training in a week that corresponds to maybe 80% of anaerobic training? Because that's what the 3 hard interval sessions that you're doing consists of. That's anaerobic training. So really, you want to be doing 90% plus of your training at aerobic speeds, because that's what you need to be doing to get used to the event you're training for. So I hope that makes sense to people.
How do you work out your aerobic and anaerobic speeds?
Well, really, it's anything quicker than, to be on the safe side, to make it quite simple to understand, anything quicker than half marathon pace, you're using more anaerobic. Because they say anaerobic is a half marathon type turning point of pace. So anything slower than, it's an easy way to think about it, anything slower than half marathon pace is aerobic. As soon as you go sort of 10k, 5k, 3k pace, you're using more of your anaerobic system. So to play it safe is just anything slower than half marathon pace. So just gives you an idea on how much type of training you need to do at certain phases and for certain races. So for example, as I say, I've done 4 months of base building because I've been training for sort of half marathon. I have jumped in a 10k, not ran quite my best because obviously I haven't done that much anaerobic training, but for a half marathon I'm very, very close. And I would have thought if I did a couple more long runs, marathon, I'd probably run close to my best at the moment. So I just wanted to get people an idea, and I mean,
so when do you put the anaerobic training in then? Do you ever do that? Or?
You do, once you've got a base that works and a base that's big enough. So, but yeah, I usually say it takes 8 to 10 weeks to build a base of fitness. So if you just focused on 2 months, the longer the base, actually the better, and the better you perform when you start doing anaerobic training. But they say the shortest amount is about 8 weeks. So you spend 2 months purely on aerobic type training, so nothing quicker than half marathon.
So won't that be a bit of a strain then when you start to do anaerobic training on your system? How do you put that in?
So how you put it in, you put it in slowly when you start back, and there's one little trick that you need to remember. You need to be doing once to twice a week. Once a week is usually good enough. Some very relaxed strides, or not sprinting, but very, very relaxed, quick turnover, 10-15 second strides to make sure that your legs
within the run or within the run?
Within the run or the end of the run. I mean, I've been using hill sprints of 10 seconds. Because they're so short, the body doesn't have a chance to figure out if they're anaerobic or aerobic. It's so short when you walk back down or jog back down. Just do 10. I've been doing 10 times 10-second hill sprints once a week. So it's just to keep my legs firing and so that it's ready for when I do start this anaerobic training. But that's the one session I do. I wouldn't even class it as a session because it's just strides basically. That's all it is. And that's the one thing you do throughout the base training, just to keep your feet and your legs and everything just sharp, so you're ready to do it when you change. So, going back to myself, I've done 4 months of base training, so almost ran a PB at half marathon, very, very close. And now, this extra 15%, I mean, and that's all you can call it, 15% extra, which I'm looking for now, when I start the anaerobic training. It's just getting used to 5k pace and 10k pace, really, that's all it is. But this extra training that I'm doing now with regards to the speed work is only topping off the fitness that I already have. If I didn't do all this base training, I would be running nowhere near the times that I'm running now or want to run. So that's what I want people to take away, is that it's not it's not the anaerobic and the quick fix of doing the speed work that's going to get you where you want to get to. It's the base of training first of all that you need to put the groundwork in, the grinding long runs, the grinding, you could say marathon pace type efforts, and just steady runs often that you need to put in first before you even think about doing the harder stuff.
So do you do this when you're trying to build up for like a peak of a certain race?
Peak certain race, or just a series of races. If for example, you think I've got a race in 3 months' time, well, why not devote 2 months of your training, of base training first, and the last month, twice a week to 3 times a week, you start doing the anaerobic training to bring you to a peak for that day.
And how long will that last for, though? Will you have to go back to base training
after?
Base
training, you do, yeah.
What's the length of time?
It depends on how long your base is. If you only do 2 months of base, then you could say it might only last 2 months of anaerobic training before you get to the end, before you get to the fitness.
And you'll know that's
you'll know
it?
Really, when you start running PBs and you go, for example, you run a PB at 5k earlier in the month, and you go 6 weeks later, you're not running a PB again, you're getting close to it, but you're a little bit slower, and you keep trying to attack your PBs and you're not getting any quicker. Bearing in mind you might have run a big PB already, you've got to draw the line and say, right, that's it. Times are what I'm going to run now, that's it, draw the line, back to base training for 2 or 3 months.
So is that what some of the Kenyans do when they come over?
That's exactly what they do. They obviously the best runners in the world, so what they'll do is you don't hear from them for 3-4 months of the year. It's because they're back in Kenya doing base training, not that many hard sessions. All their runs are probably quite steady, quite good runs, but massive mileages and all base training for 3-4 months of the year, possibly even 6 months. Then they'll come over to the summer track season where they'll do all these Diamond League races and they'll start running all this speed work and all these interval training just to peak them for a certain period of time. Without that base training, they would nowhere near be able to run the speeds they do. The key thing is that they're already running, because their base is so good, they're already running, incredible times before they even start to do the speed work. So I think that's the trick. You need to have such a good base that you're almost running PBs before you've even done the anaerobic training. So if that's a little just my ideas on training and what people what people think of it. It'd be great to hear from. If you just want to either write a comment on the comment box below on this YouTube video, or you can follow my training. I think it's on Garmin Connect, or it might even be on Strava, so you can have a look at that. Just type my name in and have a look at what I've been up to. I'm always interested in discussion training, so if anyone wants to pop a question up or ask questions about what they, if I'm giving any advice on what to do, just either drop me an email or write on the Facebook page. There's loads of ways you can contact me. So, good luck with your training, and hope you can learn something from what I've talked about today. Cheers.